Girl, I know you wanna. You know I wanna. Yeah, she keep giving me.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to Up
Up
in
in the air. Okay.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Up in the Air. We know that it's been almost 2 months since our last episode.
Yeah, that's so crazy. I feel like a lot, but like nothing has happened since then. I think a lot in the world, but then like for me,
In our own times. Yeah. Do you want to introduce yourself real quickly?
Oh man, we're doing that? All right.
Yes.
Should we do like okay. Hi, my name is Clarence. I am 22 years old and I am a student currently at UW studying visual communication design. And my favorite animal is the orca whale.
Nice.
You're like, okay.
I didn't know you were gonna go in with the animal, so let me think of mine. But yeah, my name is Jubilee. I am 21 years old. I am also studying at the University of Washington.
Wait, you're only 21?
Yes, homie. I'm a youngster.
What? How? Oh, okay, yeah, you are. All right.
But yeah, studying visual communication design and law, societies, and justice. And my favorite animal is, I know it's basic, but I really like tigers. So, because I'm the year of the tiger, but I just like how beautiful they are, and they're pretty cool. So,
Okay, do your best tiger impression.
bruh, that's kind of like
Okay, never mind. Just kidding.
bar XD. Just kidding.
Okay, this is mine as a whale.
You need to have the sound effects as well.
I can't do that. I'm not doing that.
Anywho, yeah, thank you so much for joining us and taking some time out of your week just to listen in. We did have, a break, an intentional break with Up in the Air because we wanted to be mindful of what was happening in the world, and we also thought it would be important to, just take a break from our usual content so that we could prioritize the current content that's on media right now, and we didn't want to have anything to distract from people reaching that content. So yeah, it's been 2 months. I think it is important to address what's happening in the world, or in the US in particular as well. As you all know, at the end of May, that's when a lot of protests were happening in response to the murder of George Floyd, as well as a lot of other Black Americans such as Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery. 3 Black individuals that should not have died but were killed, and there's been little to no justice following their murders. A lot of the protests have been addressing police brutality and a lot of other systemic issues, including healthcare, education, prison systems, and more. I think it's been, even with COVID happening, prior to that, a lot of unjust systems were being highlighted by the movement. And I think that, it's important as individuals to utilize our platforms to educate ourselves and to help educate others as well. And there's a lot of ways to do that, whether it's dedicating your time to learning or signing petitions, or if you have the funds to donate. There's just always a way that you are able to contribute, and it's definitely an ongoing thing, not just a one and done type of thing. Clarence, anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, I think especially, being in a pandemic is also highlighting a lot of like injustices within our healthcare system. So there's just so many, I guess, like things coming to light nowadays, and I feel like it's especially important for us to, take the time and learn about what's going on and how you can act. And like I think it's funny too, because I hear a lot of people like, oh, petitions don't really do a lot, like what else can I do? But I think petitions, it might seem like a small step, and it's like also a very easy thing to do, but it does show how many people are rallying behind something, and I feel like that's really important for our leaders to know.
Yeah, for sure. I think the number one thing that petitions do is that they apply some pressure in other ways that you can't. Besides, I think it's really good to be sharing on your media platforms as well, but I think the petitions serve as kind of a bridge from us to people in power. So I think that's really important to acknowledge. And even like the very small victories, like Seattle Public Schools cutting ties with SPD, that was a result, or somewhat of a result, from petition signing as well. So I think it's important to just recognize the small things that you can do and the big things that you can do, whether you're frontlining at the protests or unable to because of COVID and staying at home. We'll have a list of resources down below so that you can just check it out and find your best way that you can contribute through that.
Yeah. Also, it's voting season, so gotta make sure you look out for your mail if you live in Washington. I just got mine today. I haven't filled it out yet, but I need to like Google all the people so I know who I'm voting for. But it's really easy to do that. You just look up their names. I think they also are sending out pamphlets with a description of every person that's on the ballot anyway, so
Yes, we are advocates of voting out here. If you are above 18 and you're not planning on voting, well, you should change that. Clarence and I have covered it in a past episode, but if you are eligible to vote, you really should take advantage of it, because a lot of folks are not eligible to vote, whether it's because they have like a criminal record or things like that, or if they don't have a home address. Like homeless population don't have access to ballots because they don't have a home address. So I think it's important to take advantage of that, and to advocate for marginalized communities through whoever we're electing into office, as well as the policies that are on the ballot as well. But
well said.
Period. But
okay, sorry.
So basically for today's episode, we wanted to dedicate it to highlighting some Black creators that Clarence and I have been either discovering or have been consuming, just because it's still quarantine, so we have more time on our hands, and we have been watching a lot more TV, reading a little bit here and there, listening to lots of music. So we wanted to share with you all what we were up to, while also elevating some of those creators. But before we go in, should we like check in a little bit as to what's happening in our lives?
Yeah, I think that'd be nice.
Yeah. What's up with you, Clarence?
Well, that's a good question. I'm happy you asked. I guess since our last show, after the end of our spring quarter, I had surgery, and that's been taking a bunch of my time. I tore my ACL and my meniscus. And so I've been just recovering and doing physical therapy. It's not as I guess it's not as hard as I thought it would be. Like it's tough, but it's not like I'm crying while doing like lunges, or I haven't been doing lunges yet, but it's not like I'm on the brink of tears. So that's been consuming a lot of my time, and then I just been working lightly. I'm still a TA at Come On, which is great. I've been there for 8 years strong. The system works. You should know basic math and reading. And then I guess for personal projects, I haven't been working on a lot. I've been like slowly kind of updating my portfolio, which has been nice. But I'm hoping to start doing that like more heavily, I guess, now and moving forward. I say that every time, but
Dude, I can't believe that it's almost August.
I know. Honestly, these past 2 months have just kind of flown by, especially since we're not really going anywhere, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm on the same page as you as well. Quarantining at my parents' house and been working, which has been nice, but also it feels a bit draining, to be honest. I feel like I'm not working on as many projects for work, at least, so I honestly feel like I'm mostly just doing like the really small things. But at least I'm lucky to be able to work from home.
Yeah. At least you're getting paid.
Yeah. I honestly like roll out of bed at like 8:59.
Well, that's
Like,
yeah.
hey, let me know if you need anything. And then yeah, working on personal projects, doing some freelance work, which has been really exciting because I'm not super familiar with freelance work, to be honest. I'm pretty new to it. And then have been trying to do some more socially distanced photo shoots, which have been really fun. More just with my friends rather than like clients. So that's been really great.
Yeah.
But
It's always good to like if you didn't do any photo shoots for a long time, like you get really rusty at it, So
yeah,
so it's good to get those juices flowing.
also just like socially interacting with people. I'm just like, I don't know how to talk to you because I haven't seen people in so long.
Especially from a distance too. Like you can't touch them. You
Right.
can't like. Yeah, it's weird.
I have noticed how much of a difference it makes when you are able to physically like greet someone. That sounds weird, but like when you see someone, usually you like side hug or something like that. But without that little break of interaction, there's kind of a little bit of awkwardness that just lingers there. So I noticed the importance of that.
I feel like it's like you're breaking a literal like wall, by like.
Yeah, it's like breaking the barrier, but then you're just like, I don't know, it's just awkward, but it'd be like that. At least we're staying safe. Yeah. Has anyone that you know gotten COVID?
No, actually no. I mean, yeah, no, not personally. I've heard of people. Actually, no. Let me scratch that. I know one person that got it.
Your homie?
We don't. I went to high school with them. We don't really hang out unless just like a couple of times, I guess, during the summers.
Mm-hmm.
But he is he's in the Greek system, so he got COVID. Like, yeah. I think he's fine though.
There's a huge For those of you that don't know, at UW, I believe the number was like over 200 at this point of confirmed COVID cases because people weren't social distancing.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
So please continue to wear your masks and stay in if you are able to, and just be mindful of the vulnerable communities. I would even recommend not dining into restaurants and stuff. Like if you can do takeout, then I would recommend that as well. So
yeah, I dined in like twice now.
Oh, it's a brewery. I can't say that word.
That's a tough word. That's like saying
Jubilee.
Jewelry. Okay, anyways. Yeah, I dined in like twice now, and I don't know, I'm like, I am socially distanced, but I just feel guilty sometimes for the people working, because I'm like, oh, I can't eat with the mask on, so like if they're serving me food, kind of like defeats. I mean, like you see the whole thing about if only one person wears a mask, then like, yeah. So I don't know. It's like weird. It's uncomfortable, and I don't. You definitely, if you can, you just maybe take out instead. But
yeah, and that's another thing that I want to address before we get into like our main topic for today. Is I think social media has been a very unique platform because before the past 2 months, I think a lot of people were using it for just personal content, catching up with others. It was a form of entertainment and community. And I feel like it's really unique that now it is a form of community, but in a different way. It's a way of like actively learning about other communities that you're not necessarily a part of or close to. And so, yeah, I've had a few people talk to me saying, yeah, I feel really what you mentioned, like the guilt. I feel really guilty right now. I feel like I'm not as active on social media as others, or I feel incompetent or ashamed. And I think that it's important to feel those things because you are reacting. But I think complacency is where things get very dangerous, where you can use, the feelings of guilt or like the icky feelings to be productive and to instead channel it into an eagerness to learn, I think. So I think even with COVID, yeah, maybe just acknowledge like, why am I feeling guilty? And it's because you are learning something and because you want to change your behavior in the future and stuff. So I think it's important to acknowledge that because, yeah, social media is like completely different right now. And it will be, I think, in the long run. Okay.
Yeah, I think people are using it, in a lot of different ways now. It's a lot more, I guess, informative than it was before. Or I guess like informative, like the information is more upfront. Like I feel like in the past there's a lot of just like bullshit,
Mm-hmm.
Now it's kind of like you can see the information being more prioritized, like what's actually important, and then like the other stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's where some of the creators that we'll talk about in a few minutes, I think that's where they kind of come in because they use their medium to elevate important information and things like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get into it. I feel like we have a nice little list of things that or media that we've been consuming, but I want to start with our shows because that's what I've been doing primarily. It's just watching a lot of TV, whether it's catching up on a series that I have been putting off or starting something new or revisiting old things. What have you been watching or what have you watched that you really liked recently?
Yeah. I did mention this, for those of you that know me, you know that I talk about the show a lot, and I was able to finish the 4th season after spring quarter ended, and actually Clarence introduced me to the show, so shout out to Clarence. But I think one of my all-time favorite shows is Insecure, which is on HBO. It's produced and also stars Issa Rae. It's a comedy that talks about different, it's kind of just a somewhat, it's not really coming of age because it only takes place in like a year, but it talks about a lot of things like relationships, career, friendships and things like that, and kind of just faces those things head on in a really realistic and honest way while also being really funny and while also having a really good soundtrack. So I personally really appreciate it. It's also mostly all Black cast, which is really awesome. I think there's like one Asian dude in it that is like someone's boyfriend. But I honestly think it's super well made, and yeah, shout out to Clarence for putting me on.
Yeah, I love that show too. I think what I really like about it too is how people, when they like after an episode, they would discuss it for like, they're like, oh my god, this character did this or this character did that, and like they would have like hives, like fan bases, and they're like, nah, I'm with this guy, like I think I'm on his side kind of thing. So
yes, my favorite thing to do is after I watch an episode, I look it up on Reddit and just see what people have to say. I just love how organized it is. It's like Insecure season 3 episode 3, and then you can just read all the
and it's like it's less about like Easter eggs or whatnot, but it's more kind of like, what do you think would happen next? And I feel like that kind of says something about your thought process, like how will their relationship resolve, and then however you think that kind of resolves is maybe says something about your experience or whatnot. But yeah, I feel like it's a super good show. And yeah, you're right. The soundtrack is so fire. I feel like they never miss.
It's so good.
Like I definitely found a lot of like really good like new artists too, you know, not just like the huge songs, but
Yeah.
the really obscure things too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been starting a new show called I May Destroy You. It's written and stars Michaela Cole. It's set in the UK or in London, and it's you know a show about Michaela's character, and she experiences sexual assault, and it's kind of like exploring what that's like for her. And then in addition, like it'll like show you kind of different characters and like how even your friends or people who you might consider your friends, you know, like might take you for granted and whatnot, and like take advantage of you. So it's a very it's a at times hard to watch, but again, I feel like it's very important to understand. And also they do find a lot of ways to like make it funny and like have a balance of like those kind of emotions. But yeah, I highly recommend it. I think it's they also have a good soundtrack. Like they had a Tierra Whack song in it, and I was like, fire. But
Dude, yeah. I actually started that show, but then my HBO subscription expired.
so you're out here like on your 5th email.
Yes, I have used like 4 emails at this point because $14.99 a month is kind of pricey.
But think about it this way: we're not in school, so you're not like getting coffee all the time, and
You're right.
you know, so you could do it for like 2 months, and that's it.
And they have like Studio Ghibli movies on HBO
Yeah.
Max, so I really
All of them.
yeah. But yeah, I was very fascinated by the first episode for sure. I think yeah, I will probably say like they should have, I think they have a trigger warning because it is quite sensitive. The way that they kind of depict the sexual assault is very interesting. But yeah, I think it's a great show to watch, and hopefully I will be continuing it once I get my subscription. I am planning on it. But yes, you had one more show that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, there's this show called The Shy. I think it's on Fox. But it's written by Lena Waithe, and she is I think she's from LA. She's a very popular writer now. She won an Emmy for her work on Master of None.
Oh,
And so she's been popping off, and it's a show about I think it's about a family in Chicago, which is why it's called The Shy, but it's kind of outlining like their experience and like what life is like as a Black American. And so it kind of outlines like, you know, it touches on different things such as politics and family and, you know, violence and whatnot. So also a very good show. I think they're on their 2nd season right now.
Oh, nice.
Or 3rd. I could be wrong. But yeah.
Check that out. Sounds good. And I'm always looking for a new show.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much out there that I haven't seen yet. And like I'm trying to watch The Wire. Like I haven't seen The Wire yet, and everyone's like that's a classic, so I'm trying to do that.
Wait, okay, I know that we said that was the last show recommendation, but I forgot a very, very important one that I just finished. It's called Pose, and it's currently on Netflix, and it's an FX show. And oh my goodness, y'all, I was completely blown away by the show. One, because I'm not familiar with ballroom or ball culture, and it talks about the underground ballroom culture in New York during the AIDS and HIV crisis. And it has like a very, focuses on the trans community. And I think that this show, one thing I really appreciate is that it is acted by trans folks, which I think is very important in terms of representation. And then 2, it just has such a, once again, like honest and raw approach to the topics that they cover. And I think as a cisgender woman, like I'm learning so much about I didn't know so much about the AIDS and HIV crisis at all. I think it feels like there's a lot of parallels with the current pandemic right now, because honestly that was in itself a pandemic as well, in a way. So yeah, I think I highly recommend it. There's 2 amazing seasons. I also really enjoy the soundtrack, and please check it out. Like I can't believe I forgot to put that on the list, but that one's the
yeah, I've seen like the little snippets of it, but I haven't gotten a chance to watch it, so I'll put that on my list. There's so many, again, like there's so many things to watch, but I'll definitely bump it up too.
Yes. But yeah, we're gonna wrap up shows, and next up we have books.
This is a tough one because if I'm honest, I don't do a lot of reading, but I'm trying to do that more now.
Yeah,
my girlfriend is she's encouraging me to read more, so that's been nice.
Yeah.
But you have your book first, so what are you working on right now?
Yeah, actually just yesterday I finished Our Prison's Obsolete by Angela Davis. This has been a really awesome experience because I was reading it in a book club through AAIM, and that was just a really great experience because I got to meet a lot of people that I wouldn't normally talk to, and it's all virtual. So low-key was scared that I was going to be nervous or that it was going to be awkward because there's just like awkward pauses and stuff, but I think people were just super willing to reflect on the text and also learn from others. So it was a really great space, and I think it just feels really relevant right now because it's talking about prison abolition, and right now we're focusing on police abolition and what that looks like. Like, what does a society actually look like if we didn't have prisons and police in order to mandate social order? So yeah, I think it answered a lot of questions about that, but then also talked a lot about the systemic reasons as to why like punishment is punishment right now. And yeah, I think the number one thing that we discussed was in terms of prison abolition, are we abolishing punishment or are we abolishing like the space itself, which isolates people? So it's just been, I highly recommend it. I think it really talks about the statistical data and also more of like the philosophy and ideology behind prison and police systems. So 5 out of 5. Please read. Yeah.
What are you guys reading next?
We are reading Between the World and Me. I forgot the name of the author, but we will be starting that for the next 5 weeks. So, or 4 weeks, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I've been working on the autobiography of Malcolm X for so long.
Yes.
I'm like a little bit more than halfway through the book, and it's just like I just got through up until like he got arrested, and then he went to prison, and so it's really interesting because like you don't hear a lot about his past life and like kind of what led him to have a more aggressive like stance towards white people in general. And so yeah, it's a really interesting read, and I think it kind of like breaks down a lot of those kind of stereotypes or stigmas people have concerning Malcolm X and like his like approach to activism. Yeah, and then I think I have another book. I think it's called Why All the Black Kids Sit Together.
Cafeteria.
Yeah, I have that book. I read a part of it like a few months back, but I never like read the whole thing. So I want to read that after I'm finished with this book.
Yes. Yeah, I've heard good things about that book. My mom is a therapist, so she actually has that book. So I can just read it right after, because right now we've been reading it on like online PDFs. But yeah, actually in Our Prison's Obsolete, Davis does mention Malcolm X's experience in prison. So it's kind of cool that there's some overlap. But yeah, Malcolm X basically talks about how during his time in prison, he did want to utilize his time to keep learning, but basically just said that he had to bend over backwards to get those resources. And even when he was able to get those resources, he noticed that like he got special treatment because he had an interest where other convicts weren't able to access the same things that he was. So
yeah, for sure. I think it's also interesting because he, you know, like the way that he speaks, you know, you would never guess that he only had up until an 8th grade education.
right.
So like a lot of those words and like the way that he writes, he learned all of that in prison, you know, just by reading. And like there's a part when it talks about how he would just like go read the dictionary and then copy it so he can learn the words. And for some reason he like spoke about the word aardvark and like how that was interesting to him.
That word is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should definitely look for more books too and try to add to that list. I think you know a lot more than I do right now, so I have more homework. But
if y'all have recommendations, leave it down below.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna wrap up books, and then we do have 3 more categories. So I think we'll kind of gloss over musicians, because we'll have a playlist down below that highlights a lot of up and coming Black artists. But yeah, I can share like a few names just so that y'all can look into it later. But I've been listening to a lot of Shay Leah, Brandon Banks, Paris Alexa, Ayana. Ayana's really low key. Party Tricks is really good by her, and then also Malia. So those are, shout out to my Discover Weekly because I wouldn't have found them without my Discover Weekly. But they're kind of pretty low key artists. And yeah, they'll be featured in that one playlist down below.
Yeah, you know what's nice though too is like the playlist that you made like a month ago or maybe a few months ago. I like found a lot of artists on there too, so that's been super dope. Like
yeah,
it's a very low key one.
Many people, yeah.
Like I'm a huge fan of Solomon's Garden. And I'm like, well,
yeah.
There. But yeah, a few artists that I want to highlight on the playlist that we're curating right now is Sun Little, Kirby. She just did a really dope NPR like home concert. And then I just found Buju Banton. He's like a dance hall legend, but he just had a song, or he just released an album, but he has a song with Pharrell, and it's a really fun song. So yeah, but you're right. I think we should keep going because we do have 2 more categories. This next one is designers that we like. It's a short list, but I think there's a lot of good work that they've been working on, and so it's a lot of content to go through. So I feel like if you guys want to follow these designers, it'd be really nice. But you want to start?
Yeah, I think one conference I want to highlight that a lot of my friends and I attended in our cohort was the Where Are the Black Designers conference. That was a really great conference that was really just kind of examining the current design industry right now and how only 3% of designers are Black, and had a lot of mentors and people in the industry that share their experiences. And also there were lots of panels of people kind of coming up with solutions, concrete solutions as to how we can approach this, tangible ways that we can fix it. So I thought that was great. But yeah, Five Boy is one of the designers that I pointed out. I think they have been very intentional about utilizing their design skills to share important information. Honestly, a lot of the graphics that some of you may have seen were created by Five Boy, and they have also opened up like fellowships for up and coming Black designers as well. So I thought that was really cool. Should I do my next one?
Yeah.
Okay, next one, she's hella dope. She's like my design crush. Her name is Josiah, and I found out about her because she did Megan Thee Stallion's merch, which I thought was awesome. I was so mad because the t-shirt that I wanted sold out like really quickly.
Oh yeah.
It was, like this pink ice cream truck and it said hot girl on it. Well, hot girl shit. Ew. But Josiah's been really great. A lot of her work is a lot of like chrome leathering and gradients. Something that I want to learn more of, and I believe she's self-taught, which is also just really inspiring. So check out Five Boy and I'm Josiah. We'll have their ads down below.
Yeah, I heard that she did a 365-day like design challenge where she did a design every day, and I feel like that's crazy that she kept up with it. You know, she just concluded it too. Yeah,
we should do that. It's gonna be hard though.
I don't know if I could. Okay, so I have three designers. One is Jacob Rochester. I just like found his work on Instagram scrolling through my explore page, but he does like a little bit of like painting, like art paintings, and then he also does some graphic design. He worked with Nike before. He's been doing this series where he's kind of like making or painting baseball cards, which is pretty dope.
Oh, that's awesome.
So he has a pretty fun style, like pretty realistic, and I think he uses a lot of like watercolor, which is dope. And then another artist / designer that I really like, her name is Deborah Roberts. She does like a lot of collages, and I feel like they seem very like of the time, you know, and I think it evokes like a lot of emotions and, you know, whatnot. So I think she had a gallery recently, which is pretty dope. And lastly, I want to touch on Fisk Studios, which I'm a huge fan of. They do a lot of work concerning like, did you hear that laughter?
Yeah.
That's my brother playing games. Yeah, okay, sorry. Yeah, so Fisk Studios is Black owned, Black and Iranian owned. They do a lot of work with musicians, so they've done album covers for Ravina, Toro Imoy, and others. And then they also do like publication design and other stuff like that. But super dope, and they're always like posting a lot of cool stuff. So I think if you want to give them a follow, they also have cool merch. I'm sure.
Yeah. They've been super cool. I think I just recently discovered Fisk, and their work is super awesome. And I love Ravina's covers, so I'm glad to know who made those. So yeah.
Yeah, and they're located in Portland too, so they're not too far away.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all the designers that we have for today. Let's move into our favorite photographers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can go first. So I actually listed a few, but the first one that I guess is my favorite is Tyler Mitchell. He does a lot of, I guess, like more realistic kind of in the life sort of photos. And he did a lot of cover shoots for, you know, famous musicians. I think what really got him a lot of notoriety is the shoot that he did with Beyonce. I honestly, though, I don't remember what magazine it was, but he was the first Black he was the first Black photographer to shoot the cover of this magazine. It might have been, I don't know, it's not Variety, it's, you know, let me just Google it.
I remember seeing about it though.
Vogue. It was for Vogue.
Oh wow, that's huge. Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge, and he's like 26 or 7, you know. So yeah, he super dope work. I feel like I like his style so much that like I've been trying to imitate it for a little bit, and then like see how I can do my own kind of take on it. But I feel like his style is quite trendy as well, you know. I think a lot of like those sort of like photo studio kind of like professional setups are a little bit of the past now. Like people are kind of really moving in and leaning into like those more urban sort of environments and like shooting people in the day. Or yeah, that sounds really terrible. Taking photos of people, you know, in their day-to-day life. But yeah.
So should I go next?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's not a photographer, but it's a magazine that on their media platform, they share a lot of Black photographers and Black models, which is really awesome. A lot of also Black women in that industry. So it's called Crown Magazine. They also did a feature with Issa Rae recently, but they're really popping off. And I've been able to follow a lot of people from their posts, which is really great. So I would recommend Crown Magazine. I believe it's Crown, CRWN Mag on Instagram. We'll have a document with all their ads so that y'all can see it in one place. But yeah.
That's dope. I don't follow them, so I definitely will check them out.
But yeah, did you have any other photographers, or
I had a few other ones. I'll just like list them off real quickly. Maha Neela, I think that's how you say it. I don't want to butcher her name, but she does a lot of like intimate portraits of Black men and women. And she had a series recently where she was doing photos of Black people wearing yellow, and it was super dope just to see, like, because she was saying how, you know, that contrast is like, she was like, no one wears yellow better than, you know, someone who's Black. And
right.
Yeah, they were rocking it. It was really dope. And then another photographer that I really like is Joshua Kissy. I think he runs a stock photo company where they are trying to like kind of reimagine, or I guess create a larger library of stock photos that actually highlights, you know, diversity.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when you Google a lot of these like sort of whatever, insert whatever stock photo, it's always like a white person. So I think that's really dope. And then Nora Williams, she does a lot of good work. She has been highlighting the protest recently, and it's been really like dope to see her work and kind of capturing what is going on the streets. And Alexis Hunley is another photographer that I really enjoy too. And yeah, just really good work all around. Yeah, two things from what you just said. I think, on Twitter I've been seeing a lot of Black photographers post their photos of Black folks, because a lot of white photographers don't know how to edit Black skin, and I think that's really important, because they either make it way too dark where it washes out their features, or they wash them out and they really lose their melanin in the photos. So there's that. And then for my workplace, I have to interact a lot with stock photos, and my boss is always like, can you please find pictures with diverse people? And I'm like, okay, first of all, let's make sure that, you know, we're catering towards a diverse audience. But then also, it's very difficult to find stock photos with BIPOC folks in it. Like, you have to pay extra for those types of photos. So I think that's really interesting and really important to just examine every single industry and see how problematic it is. So but yes, thank you everyone for listening in on all these different mediums, whether it's shows, music, books, a little bit of books, and photographers and designers. These are people that we really look up to, and we're super lucky to have been able to discover them during this time. And if y'all have anyone that you have been really consuming and appreciating, please feel free to let us know. You can comment below.
Comments down there, because but I think we'll wrap it up for today. Let's do our songs of the week to end this episode.
Sure, I can go first. Yeah.
Yes.
So my song of the week is called "Shine" by Joey Badass. I'm a huge Joey Badass fan, and I I really enjoyed his last album. It's been 3 years since he released any music, and so these 3 songs, he said don't call it an EP, but people are calling it an EP. I'll just call it a short album of, just like sort of his, I guess, resurrection in a way. Like he's trying to find his sound again, I think, and kind of seeing like how he is evolving from his previous album and the one before that. So super dope song. He also has of the 3 songs, there's another one with Pusha T on it, and I'm a huge fan of him as well. And so I just recommend everyone to check out all 3 songs, but The Shine is my favorite of the 3.
I haven't listened to it, so I'll check it out as well.
It's a good vibe.
That's awesome. Yeah. Joey Badass, I think he came to UW a few years back.
He came, I think, maybe like 3 years ago.
My song of the week is What Dreams Are Made Of by Evan McIntosh. I believe that's how you say it. The song is really beautiful. It's like alternative R&B, alternative contemporary R&B, and yeah, it's just very calming, very beautiful, and I've been listening to it a lot and would recommend listening to her. I think another song that I really like by her is, let me make sure I have the right one. Do You Mind is also a really good one. So What Dreams Are Made Of and Do You Mind, I would recommend. But yeah, down below we will have a list of our playlists for you all to check it out. We'll have the Up in the Air playlist and then also the Support Black Musicians playlist. But yeah, anything else before we sign off?
No. I don't know. I guess like make sure you are staying safe in this COVID times. Make sure you are keeping an eye on your mail, so when your ballot comes in, that you are.
I thought you just said like keep an eye on your mail. Like I just thought of a guy. Like,
okay, speak for yourself.
What are you talking about?
Keep an eye on your mailbox for your ballot, so that you don't miss out on the deadline. And yeah, make sure you're drinking water. I feel like I haven't done that a lot.
Oh yeah, honestly, you just been drinking some beer.
It's like coffee, a sip of water, and then beer at night, and that's it.
Water. No, yeah, I feel that. Yeah, stay hydrated, y'all, and take care of yourselves. And yeah, hope that your friends and family are doing well. I know that there's a lot of uncertainty right now, but we hope that you can stay safe. But yeah. Thank you for joining us again. We'll see if maybe we'll have some guests again to spice things up a little bit. Check in with our friends.
Yeah, see how they're doing. If anyone has anything to say, we can maybe give them a platform. But yeah, we will be back soon. We might not do weekly. That's to be determined. But
yeah,
we will let everyone know on our social media handles, which is @_Clarence Leung.
And mine is @Jubilee, which is @JUBYYAE. And also, y'all will see by the time we post this, but we are going to start a separate YouTube channel for Up in the Air, just so that we can have like all the content in one place and it's not jumbled up with other stuff. So yeah, okay, we're gonna sign off. Bye. Why did I wave like that?